Black America. While we celebrate symbolism of having a black woman in the White House and a black woman in the Supreme Court, right now as we speak, black women are the most likely to lose their house. Black men have the shortest lives, black children have the highest suicide rate, and even though we are around 15 to 20% of the population, we are over 55% of those living in the streets. We are going to be third-class citizens in the nation we built. We better wake up and vote for real policy. Vote for Gregg Marcel Dixon. Repair Black America to fix America.
Tick faster, that'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods, giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or either one with two blades on it. Hey you, don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it.
All right. Welcome once again to the BeatZillaPDX official show. I am your host, BeatZillaPDX officially. And this is, I guess, my third birthday broadcast. And we got a real doozy for you today. We absolutely have a great show planned because I am finally getting the chance to interview Brother Gregg Marcel Dixon. And without any further ado, we're going to get right to it and bring this brother right on in. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So, family, this is Gregg Marcel Dixon. He is running for Congress. What district, brother?
I'm running for U.S. Congress, South Carolina District 6. And I want to say congratulations to you on another year. It's always an accomplishment, especially for us as black men, black American men. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. And once again, appreciate you for sharing your time with us on this broadcast. So family, as you're coming in, please like and share. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, you might as well go ahead and do so right now, because now is the time. So you should wait no longer. And if you have not seen the pinned in the message that is right there at the top of the chat, that is the link to Brother Marcel's donor box. So if you are so inclined to help this brother out, which you should be, please go hit that link, and it'll take you right there to go ahead and send that brother some donations and some love his way. So with that being said, I would like to just say to you, Brother Marcel, that when we think of politicians, we are so used to having a bunch of politicians come up and say a bunch of nothing. I think one thing that impressed me about you is just seeing how ready you are on your feet. And that shows a genuine passion for what you're doing and what you're speaking. With that being said, on this broadcast, we first came in contact with you by fluke. Somebody had a video of you catching Clyburn on the slide. And you were going in on that cat, and it was just so hilarious because he was not prepared to deal with you at all. So, with that being said, what has the response been to you so far, since you are kind of now they can no longer hide you? You know what I'm saying? So you're here. So how has the response been as of late?
The response has been very, very receptive. I want to say before I go any further, it's not so much that Congressman Clyburn was not ready. It was that he never expected that he will have to be held accountable for the neglect of Black America, Black Americans, descendants of American slaves, freedmen. Not once had he ever had someone come to him and say, look at the statistics of Black Americans. We have $24,000 in wealth compared to the average white American family that's $200,000 in wealth. If you take Black Americans out of the equation, well, 100 at the average American family will have $122,000 in wealth. Our wealth is heading down. Others' wealth is increasing. His district is majority Black. I told him how we've lost 15 million acres of property of the 16 million acres of property we used to own. He had never been questioned or forced to be held accountable by Black Americans. That is our fault. That these politicians are so comfortable waltzing up in front of us, talking about how amazing they are, while we are literally dying a slow death. They are in a position to do something about it, and they don't. So that's why he was caught off guard. He never thought he would have to answer to a Black American about the mistreatment of our people. Well, he thought wrong. And I'm going to show all of them that they were wrong. Now, the reception to my campaign has been positive. The only thing that stops me from being a guaranteed win, which I am going to win, is just getting everyone to hear about me. But everyone that hears about my platform outside of the Clyburn sellouts appreciates what I am trying to do. Even white Republicans who may not even agree with reparations, they will say, you know what? This district, my district is 70-something% Democrat. So they will say a Republican is really not going to win my district. They will also say that they feel that reparations is unrealistic. Of course, I disagree, and I make that very well known to them. But they will then say, you know what, though? You are against abortion because you want to see more Black children born and living healthy lives. They will say you're not for gun confiscation. I actually believe that Black Americans should actually arm ourselves even more. They will also say you are against, this is a big one for them, you are against illegal immigration, you are against amnesty. And then they will always say something that's really interesting to me. They will say, you know what? As much money as this country spends on illegal immigrants and now Ukrainians, they can definitely put that money in the hands of Black Americans because at least y'all are Americans and built the nation. So I'm getting a good reception from every group, with the exception of a small percentage of older Black men who seem to think that they should be more concerned about Clyburn winning his seat than about Black Americans getting what we're owed.
Okay. So that makes tons of sense. I see. I wonder, are they kind of like with the older Black generation? Are they kind of looking at you? Because of course we know you're running on as a Democrat, but do they look at you as like a Republican?
I've never gotten that from Black. Here's the thing that people don't like to talk about. Black Americans, when I say Black Americans, I want to be very clear. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about freedmen, descendants of those people who were enslaved by the American government. We are actually a lot more conservative than people want to realize. Most Black Americans are conservative. Politically, we're liberal, but socially, we're conservative. We believe in strong families. We don't believe in aborting our children outside of a medical emergency. The only reason Black women have the most abortions is they've been saying since the 1970s. It is because of poverty. They can't afford their children. And instead of us demanding the Democrats, for whom we vote for more than any other group, 95%, instead of them doing something about Black poverty, they simply want to make it easier for us to kill our babies. While at the same time, they tell illegal immigrants, have a child. So that way we can't deport you because your child's an American and we don't want to break up your family. So they incentivize illegal immigrants having children while telling Black American women kill their kids. Most Black Americans are not with that. Most Black Americans do not agree with illegal immigrants coming here, taking jobs that were once dominated by Black Americans. Okay, we're more conservative than people want to realize. I have not had any Black person, young nor old, say to me, you're really a Republican. Only ones that have said that are these Black people who think that they are Democrats before they are Black. Most Black people agree with what I am saying. The only thing that stands in the way is me being able to reach all of those people, which is why donations are so important. It helps me to get my message out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what's funny is matter of fact, let me get this here. Matter of fact, so it's in the chat. Also, it's now on the screen. So again, speaking of donations, it's at the top of the chat. So if you need a quick fix to go ahead and help this brother out, it is right there. It'll go directly to the page to where you can donate to this brother's campaign and get all of this brilliance into Washington where we need it. A breath of fresh air is so needed. Speaking of breath of fresh air, uh, you were on one of the Twitter Spaces and debated one of those writers,
Michael Harris, Michael Harriet.
Yeah. Oh my lord, man. I just have to commend you on the way that you. I think you scared the world because I don't think anybody like you are making politicians have to rethink how they even approach the community. And so
Good.
just to commend you on your impact on that level is amazing. So shout out to you, my brother.
You know what? We all have to have this energy. Not patting myself on the back, but we all have to, when they come in front of us, we have to get more comfortable being more aggressive and being more demanding with these people that are supposed to represent us. We are owed more than any other group in this nation. We've been through more injustices than any other group in this nation. And for some reason, we act like we owe the nation when the nation owes us. You get white Americans who have had more done for them than any other group, from the Homestead Acts, all four of them, the GI Bill, the Wagner Act, the Indian Removal Acts. And yet, when these politicians go in front of white Americans, these white Americans, at least here in South Carolina, they be letting them have it. One lady will tell Lindsey Graham, "You work for me. I don't work for you." And guess what? She's right. Why are we not having that attitude when we are actually the group that is owed the most? We're the group that didn't get equality until the 1970s. So why are we walking around here acting like we are indebted to these sorry-ass politicians and they don't owe us?
Facts.
Make politicians afraid again.
Ooh, put that on a shirt. Make politicians afraid again.
And I always have to say this because Clyde Baum's team will come and try to take a clip and make it seem like I'm promoting violence. I'm not promoting violence.
Not at all.
But I am saying that politicians have to have a respectful fear of their constituents. They have to have it to where they have to be like, okay, I'm going back to my district. I can't go there and not have something to show my people. That's how it should be. Whenever I'm talking to y'all, I'm always thinking, how is my freedmen family, my reparations family? How are the people in my district, the majority of my district being black, 50 to 60%, how are they going to feel about the things I'm saying, about what I'm representing? That's how it should be. A politician should always have not their own thoughts and feelings, but how their district is going to receive something. Okay? We've gotten it to where they don't think twice about disrespecting us. Scamala Harris.
So true.
She sat there and did the whole, they're not going to benefit black people. No. Joe Crow said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
You ain't black.
Clyburn was just asked about reparations politely, even if it was not polite. He had no business saying that. But he said to the guy, why y'all keep effing with me about that? They talk to us that way. They only treat us that way. You will never see them treating an Asian American that way. You will never see them treating a Pacific Islander that way. You will never see them treating a white American that way, a Native American that way. They don't even talk to illegal immigrants that way, but they feel comfortable talking to us that way. Y'all, we got to make them afraid of us again. And if they weren't ever afraid of us before, no better time to start than now.
Right now. So agreed, my brother.
Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you're talking to?
Woo! And with that, oh man, so glad you brought that up. Right before we get into my questions, one more thing that I noticed at the one of the videos from when y'all bum rushed the fish fry. And man, power to all of y'all that was out there. Be one to all of y'all. Appreciate all of y'all out there. When y'all went out there, somebody caught, I guess he's the president of the DNC of South Carolina out there, the chapter.
Yeah,
he got
he's
on.
the chairman.
Now
chairman of the South Carolina Democratic Party.
Okay. That cat, I'm glad they caught that on camera too, because when he got up there and started talking to all of them old elderly black folks, and look at him, let me tell you something. Yep. I said, well, wait a minute.
That's how they talk to them all the time. Y'all,
wow.
If you follow me on Twitter, if y'all remember 2 months ago, I said for y'all to call them because there's footage that they're not releasing to me. My communications director has requested it. They don't respond to her. Why do I want that footage? Because I want to show y'all how they talk to older black Americans here in South Carolina. That same thing y'all were able to catch during the fish fry, they literally browbeat our elders because they may not have the strength or the vigor or the feistiness, or they're just tired of fighting. So they literally browbeat them, impose their will upon them, and they just sit there and take it. They know that ain't going down with me. So when I come around, you can see heads start to turn. Everybody has to go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, they got a phone call and they have to leave because they're not going to be pushing their will on me. Now.
That's right. Well, see, you're waking people up. And that's one thing that is great. Just like a video that I play every now and then from Brother Malcolm X, who said that in this time in the future that black folks are going to become more politically mature. And I mean, you are the walking embodiment of that, especially coming from the grassroots, coming from the soil, and taking it to the main stage like overnight without the machine.
Y'all have been my machine. If it wasn't for the real black media, my reparations family in the chat, my Freeman family, and y'all know I don't like to use this word often, but the few out there that are our allies, the few white people out there that are on code, if it wasn't for y'all, I would not have made it this far. The mainstream media ignores me, okay, because they're cowards. They want black, and when I say the mainstream media, I'm talking about this so-called liberal media, the ones that will tell us that Republicans are so bad and they're the problem. They are the problem too. They ignore me. They don't give me any attention. I should never have made it this far. I should not have even had enough money to pay the party fees, which was $3,500, because of my reparations family, the real black media. I'm almost at $200,000. Is that Clyburn money? No. But have I been sitting on my behind, watching my people die off, land get stolen, get shot down, and doing nothing about it like Clyburn has for 30 years? No, I have not. So obviously, he's a millionaire. And then when I read the article that says he's apparently been funneling money to his family members, it's no wonder he's so rich, okay? I have not had that. Most Americans start campaigning 2 years before the actual campaign. I started 7 months, and I spent a month of it saying I was going to be a write-in candidate, and I just wanted to send a symbol. I wanted to let the Congressional Caucus know you're not going to continue to ignore my people. It wasn't until a month after that I started to make it a legitimate run. So really, in 6 months, $200,000, a person who's never ran for office, has no connections, has no experience, never wanted to run, never imagined I would run, came out of nowhere, unknown, to this point where now I want to show you something. I'm going to be a little ghetto. I want to show you something.
All right.
To the point where now Clyburn is scared. Look what he's sending people, y'all.
Uh-oh.
See this? Let me tell you what. Clyburn is scared.
Oh, wow.
He's filling out mail-outs.
Wow.
Clyburn is scared, y'all. Look at what Clyburn sent me. Look at this. Clyburn is scared. He has billboards all over the place. He has yard signs all over the place.
Wow.
I even have an insider who told me that now he's about to start running commercials. I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna put some lying BS on there about me, which if he does, that will be great. Make me famous. Make me famous. That's all I need him to do. Or he might put some lies on there about how good of a congressman he's been. You know, all lies. You see, what we have here, BeatZilla, is we have what I call the church pastor mentality here in South Carolina, where some people, they believe whatever they're told. Like, you know how some black people go to a church and whatever the pastor says, they believe it. They don't look it up for themselves. They don't question anything.
Absolutely.
All Bible has to do is send out something like this, and people, he thinks people are just going to believe it because that's the way things used to be. I am confident now that people are going to start questioning his record because I have handed out over, I forgot the number now. I've handed out over now 200,000 of my flyers with his report card on it, with several different statistics from the fact that Black American men are the most likely to be homeless than any other group, where 15 to 20% of the population, over 55% of the homeless. Black women are 5 times more likely to die giving birth to a child in the United States of America, more likely to die than a poor woman in countries like Mexico and the Philippines. How Black American women, you know, chucks and pearls, because Black American women are the most educated group per capita, and yet they have the lowest levels of wealth than any other demographic in the U.S., but they have the highest amount of student loans for which to repay. A white woman who is a high school dropout single parent has more wealth than a college-educated, full-time employed Black woman. The same way a white high school dropout has more wealth than a college-educated, full-time professional Black person. Those are facts. Look it up for yourself. The fact that we as Black Americans own less homes now than we did during Jim Crow. Those are facts. The fact that in a country we built, we once owned 16 to 19 million acres of property. We're down to 1 million. Even illegal immigrants own more of this country's land than we do. The fact that during the days of slavery, we owned 0.5% of this nation's wealth. We're now at 2.6%. That's it. From slavery to now, we went from 0.5% to 2.6%. You look through Congressman Clive Burns' legislative record, you won't find a single piece of legislation he's written or has even promoted for us to get what we're owed. But you will find that he wrote a bill for Catawba Native Americans who used to be enslavers, just like we like to fight for. The first thing he did, he got in office in 1993. I want him to look y'all in the eyes. The first thing he did in 1993 when he got in office was he sponsored a bill saying to give the Catawba Native Americans special rights, privileges, recognitions, and protections for historical injustices they have faced. Excuse me, who has faced more historical injustices than us? He wrote a reparations bill for them. November 2021, he wrote a bill for them to get 20 acres of land to build a multi-million-dollar casino from which they will get billions from, and it will be tax exempt. They will be filthy rich. Meanwhile, the Gullah Geechee people here in South Carolina, my people here on the coast, our coastal property, oceanfront, riverfront, stolen. He's done nothing about it. So he's scared, and he thinks lies like these are going to work. I need us to shout it from the rooftops to people in South Carolina that don't let these lies work. The man has not done anything his 30 years to go to bat for us. And the thing that is so disgusting, his district is majority Black. He has the best. It's not like he's in a majority white district. His district is majority Black. He had no excuse to not be more pro-Black. He has refused to do it, and he's still refusing to do it.
That is shameful. That is absolutely shameful. Wow. Okay, so with that being said, and moving forward, you had a phone bank going on this week, and then of course you also mentioned about how your donations, and again, props to the people who have been supporting this brother because it takes everybody. And this is clearly a voice to get behind. I can definitely put my stamp on that. So with that being said, would you like to take this opportunity and thank your phone bankers and all your volunteers and supporters up to this point?
I want to thank everyone for everything. And everybody remembers when I first started, I used to name people who donated just their first names, and I would like shout them out. I can't do that anymore because I can't keep up. When I first started, I used to try to follow everyone back that followed me on Twitter. I can't keep up. It's not because I don't want to do it. I just can't keep up. It's impossible for me as one person. I want to thank people for their monetary donations. Every penny has helped. Y'all have gotten me this far. Y'all are the reason I've been on Fox Soul and the Black News Channel. It was the underground, the real black media, and y'all that have carried me on your shoulders. The monetary donations, the donations are more than just monetary. The donations of your times. Those of you that have phone bank, those of you that have sent me, like Mrs. Cooper, that have sent me sound systems, hand sanitizer. Those that have made phone calls for me, giving of your time. Those that have called. I'm telling you, I have two publicists. One does more national press and one does more local press. I'm able to afford that because of y'all. But the funny thing is, when they call these groups, they call these networks, everyone say, oh, we've heard of him already. People didn't call here asking to put him on. That's y'all doing that. So those who have made phone calls, those who have shouted me out, those that have told your relatives about me here in South Carolina, even though you don't live in South Carolina, there are people who have seen me on the street, have recognized me, and they say, well, my nephew or my niece told me about you, and they live in Philadelphia or New York City. Thank you for those of you who retweet my tweets. Those of you who come to my defense so I don't have to go in and hurt somebody's feelings or worse. I can't thank y'all enough. Even if, and this is just me saying even if June 14th does not turn out to be a success for me in the way that we will want it to be, we've already won. We've changed the game already. Now people are seeing that Black Americans are doing what all these other groups have always done. We are advocating for policies specifically for us. Asian Americans didn't ask for us to be protected from hate crimes when they were going through their little 3 weeks of getting their feelings hurt. They wanted a bill to protect them, and they got it. Did you hear any of them say, well, what about Black Americans? Let's include them? No, not at all. These Hispanic caucus, when they're trying to get their illegal immigrant relatives legalized, you don't hear them asking, how is that going to negatively impact Black Americans? Even though studies have shown immigration, legal and illegal, hurts Black Americans the most. They don't care. They're all about themselves. Native Americans have gotten historic levels of funding underneath this administration. You don't hear them say, well, what about Black Americans? Matter of fact, there are Native American communities that are discriminating against Black Americans who have Native American ancestry. The LGBTQ trans people, Joel Crow is trying to give them reparations for those who weren't able to marry and inherit the wealth of their would have been spouse. Do you hear them pushing hard for Black Americans, descendants of American slavery getting reparations? No, you do not. What is my point? All these other groups are advocating for their own needs. Look at these damn Ukrainians, a country filled with Nazis. They're taking billions, trillions of dollars from us in direct aid, military equipment, and then, well, when our people were gunned down in Buffalo, down, did that Ukrainian president send his well wishes to us? No, he did not. But the next day, when there was that shooting in Texas, he got his ass up on that television and talked about, he had the audacity to quote Martin Luther King Jr. But he ain't said nothing about Black Americans being gunned down. But that same Ukrainian is asking for the wealth of our nation, wealth that would not exist without our ancestors. He's taking our wealth to keep his nation afloat while Putin's whipping his ass. So you see,
Facts.
we have to be specific. We have to stop caring about these other groups and what's going to be done for them. We have to start demanding things for us. The thing is, though, what helps us is going to help everyone else, whether we like it or not. That's the crazy thing, though. Whenever Black America does well, everyone does well. However, when all of America does well, that does not mean we do well. That's not the way it should be, but it is.
So true. So true.
While reparations is needed.
Facts.
Not
Reparations now. That is so funny. But I mean, I'm so glad to see it because that does let the world know that, and I'm sure, man, I can only imagine how your name is ringing over there in the UK and in areas like that. Like, yo, this dude is on fire out here. So, I think that this, again, the impact of just your campaign thus far, and I thoroughly believe you absolutely can win. If you don't, I would say that they kind of had to do some fidangling because one thing because we've seen you out there with the people.
Always.
And so one thing I will get into these questions, and you kind of answered the first one, because the first question is, what's been the condition of your district since Clyburn has been in office?
I'm going to give you some statistics, and I want people to fact check me and tell me I'm wrong. I asked Clyburn's family. I don't know if y'all remember that video I posted. His son-in-law was there. His two daughters were there. His grandson was there. He was there. And I was giving up, and I told him, prove me wrong. That's all I'm asking. Prove me wrong. Here are some statistics of my district. 1, we have the highest eviction rate in the United States of America. Okay? 2, we are the 6th poorest district in the United States of America out of 435 districts total. We are poorer than 429 other districts. I mean, give Clyburn an award because he's winning this race to the bottom. Okay? For children, we're the 3rd poorest district out of 435 districts total in the United States of America. Okay? We have the worst water quality in the United States of America. North Charleston has some of the most toxic water in the nation. Denmark, South Carolina, a poor majority Black town in Bamberg County, hasn't had clean water in 10 years. In 10 years, they were putting an untested, unapproved chemical in their water supply. And why do they feel they can do that? Because it's a majority Black town with a majority elderly Black population. So they figure who gave a damn, and they knew Clyburn didn't. Okay? We have the worst health outcomes in the United States of America. In Richland County, which is there in the state capital, Columbia, they have so many Black people who are getting their arms and legs and toes and fingers amputated that the Center for Disease Controls has had to actually speak on it. And why are they getting these things done to them? Because of avoidable health reasons like diabetes, high blood pressure, but they live in healthcare deserts. We talk about food deserts, communities with no grocery stores or nutritious food. We don't talk about healthcare deserts enough, where people don't have not just hospitals, but clinics. They live in those type of environments. So something as simple as diabetes leads to them losing their eyes, their arms, their legs. Clyburn's district is the worst for that. We have some of the lowest performing schools in the nation. We have an area in my state called the Corridor of Shame, which refers to a region of majority Black rural communities where the level of school failure is high, as many or more than 90% of Black boys not reading and doing math or in grade level. Not because they're not intelligent, because they are intelligent. The fact they can survive all the crap they go through, they're super intelligent, but because they're not being met before they get to the school building. And the poverty rate for the Black community there is as higher than 80%. Look up communities like Allendale County, y'all. Look up communities like Williamsburg County. Look them up and look at the poverty rate. The average poverty rate in America is 11%. For these districts I just named, Williamsburg County, in my district, 70% Black. Allendale County, 70% Black. The poverty rate is 68%. The
Wow.
average poverty rate in America is 11%. Some counties in Clyburn's district has a poverty rate as high as 68%. For the black community, high as 90%. Prove
Wow.
me wrong if you think I'm lying. Not just that, South Carolina is ground zero for a land theft of black Americans. I've already said we've lost 90% of our land between 1910 and 1997. A lot of that has happened right here in South Carolina, the Gullah Geechee people. And we were still losing our property until, believe it or not, Nikki Haley came along and signed a bill that stopped us from losing our property through a system called heirs property, where everyone gets a little piece of the property. But if anyone sells it, everyone else can get bought out. That happened to us for decades. I can go on, okay? But I think that's enough. Highest eviction, worse health, worse water, lowest performing schools, highest levels of poverty, sixth highest in the country, third highest for children. This guy has been there for 30 years. He's had more than enough time to do something. And then people want to blame the Republicans. Am I going to defend the Republicans? No. But we don't vote for the Republicans. We vote for the Democrats. So if I vote for you, I'm going to expect you to deliver. But not just that. They want to say it's the Republicans' fault, but then they want to give him credit for some of the good things he's done. On this thing here, they list some of the good things he's done. That's not fair. You can't have it both ways. If you want to give him credit for the good, that means he also has to take credit for the bad. Okay?
Absolutely.
You can't give him credit for the good at the same time, so he's not responsible for the bad. He cannot have it both ways. So if you want to give him credit for the good he's done, that's fine. That means he damn sure has to be responsible for the bad that exists here. And there's a whole lot more of that than the good he's supposedly done.
Facts. I completely agree. And those numbers are staggering.
I've been living them.
Wow, that is incredible. So once again, brother, shout out to you for even stepping up and wanting to run. And deciding that enough is enough. Because that's outrageous. That is outrageous. And even to now that puts things in perspective to me when that cat is coming out there, the let me tell you something type of attitude.
Yep.
These people absolutely do not care about you. We have no friends. So please vote your interests. And
like everyone else does.
Everyone else does. And if you are in South Carolina, please vote for this man. Let's see. Question number 2 is, how does moving forward with the business of South Carolina look to candidate Marcel Dixon?
Well, the first thing, and I don't shy away from this. People want me to shy away from my blackness. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Make people more comfortable with me. You know it's bad when Ann Coulter, a white conservative woman, is even saying America owes black Americans who are descendants of American slavery. Absolutely. When she's spoken more of that than Clyburn, who is a descendant of American slavery. We are indeed living in crazy times. The business of that is first writing reparations legislation. Being that my district is 50 to 60% black, that will only empower everyone in my district. Because what are we as black Americans going to do? We're going to do what we've always done. We only got 1% of the PPP loans, right? But we've started more new businesses than any other group. So imagine what we're going to do when we get our reparations. This country is going to be booming, which will make it a better place for everyone. Even the scumbags, unfortunately. So that's 1. 2, another major issue in South Carolina is land theft. A lot of black people live on heirs property, like I've explained. It's when you inherit property, but it wasn't bequeathed to you with a will. So everyone then has to share it. You can't get federal grants for that property. You can't get loans for it. If the property's damaged, the FEMA emergency funds will not be given to you. And usually the poorest people live on this property. As most, like in South Carolina, you can only put a mobile home on this property. That's it. Can't develop it, nothing. Unfortunately, the worst part, when you live on land, land appreciates in value, right? And a lot
Absolutely.
of times, this is what a lot of white families do, which I discovered later in life. When they lose their job or something like that, they borrow against their land. Their land might be worth $500,000. They may say, you know what, let me borrow $70,000. I'll just take the year off. You cannot do that when you're on heirs property. You get no value from your land. So you got most Black Americans, 68% of Black landowners is heirs property. So that means all of us are living on heirs property from which we get no value. And from where does most wealth come from in America? It comes from land ownership. White Americans, the first source of significant wealth for white Americans was when Abraham Lincoln did the Homestead Act of 1861. 48 million white families can trace their wealth to that land that was given to them when they wanted them to move out west. 10% of the entire country was given to white people to make them move out west. That was the original source, one of the original sources of their wealth outside of chattel slavery, obviously. But land, the Homestead Act went to people who were enslavers and not enslavers as well. We're not able to get wealth from our land because of heirs property. So I plan to do something about heirs property and give us compensation for the land that has been stolen for us. Number 3, schools here. The public schools in my district, some of them are one of the lowest performing in the nation. One of the reasons why you have some schools that soar and some schools that don't, it's a lot of factors. But one factor is funding. If schools in America are funded by property taxes, so you live in a district a county that is poor, like mine, the property taxes is low. If you live in a county that is wealthier, like the county next to me, Beaufort County, your property taxes this high. So that means one school can afford better courses. They can afford to expose kids to different experiences and people that will help them. College career-ready courses, bring trades into their schools. I plan to write legislation where there will be one standard of funding that every single public school should get so that every kid, irrespective of where they stay, can get a high quality funded education. And so what's going to happen? The counties would put towards the standard what they can do. But then the federal government will fill in the balance so they can meet that standard and send it straight to the school boards, avoiding the politics of the Department of Education. That way we can do things like bring trades back to school. Not every kid wants to go to a 4-year college. Trades are usually undervalued. Plumbers, roofers, carpenters, those type of things like heating and air technicians, you will never be unemployed when you have those type of jobs. I want kids to be able to have an option to do a 4-year degree or more or a trade. You can bring counselors and psychiatrists to deal with emotional and social mental issues that kids have. You can partner with social workers. And under my plan, you will not be there to take a kid out of home when all you need to do is support that home. If a kid's in danger, of course it needs to be removed. But most of the time, these families just need support. And they're getting penalized, and Black families the most. We will be able to provide social workers with better pay so that they can support families who are falling underwater. That is my plan for education. And number 4, I want to bring the Black community back. I always say that integration was a mistake. And when I say that, I'm not saying that Jim Crow and redlining should not have been done away with. We should have done away with Jim Crow and redlining. Separation to me is something that is going to be done of our own choice. We should bring back our own Black communities. Our people always wanted to have our own Black community, our Black Wall Streets. Only the most sellouts among us want to force themselves in white communities. Do we have the right to live wherever we want to live? Yes, we do. But why would we not want to live amongst our own people? Why would we not want to honor our ancestors by building back up the Black community and being in our own Black communities? I plan to bring the Black community back. I want us to have our own judicial system, the same way Native Americans are able to have their on their tribal lands. We should have ours too, be a protected class. South Carolina is going to be ground zero for that. And why? Because South Carolina was the first state to become majority Black and stayed that way for the longest. So South Carolina should be the model state for bringing back the Black community and us having our own sustainable communities for us by us, with us.
Powerful, brother. Powerful, powerful, powerful. So yeah, man, moving right along. I think that was a fantastic answer. I think anybody out there listening right now, please like and share this broadcast. If anybody is in South Carolina in your family, send this broadcast to them right now, because early voting has already began out there. So you can start voting. Cast your votes for Marcel Dixon right now. If you if you don't live in South Carolina, the link is in the chat. So you can also go help this brother's campaign out by hitting that link, going directly there, and helping this brother out monetarily. And so moving forward, man. Let's see. Number 3. What is your agenda for Black Americans in repairing the damages done to foundational Black Americans, freedmen, and the descendants of American chattel slavery, etc.?
Well, that's my A Better Deal for Black America plan, which is pretty much my reparations plan. This country has a history of not just paying reparations themselves, but also making other nations pay reparations. This country has paid reparations and still does to several Native American tribes, okay? Reservations, tax exempt status. Some get direct monetary payments. This country paid reparations to Japanese Americans who were thrown in internment camps during World War II. The disgusting irony is my great-grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, still very much alive, was going through lynch mobs, Jim Crow, redlining. Sharecropping was still around during those times. He fought in World War II to stop the Nazis. And what did they do? The first thing the U.S. military did after Hitler was defeated was they made Germany give the Jews back all the property they took from them. They had Black soldiers oversee that. And then they turned around and paid Japanese Americans reparations, but not the Black soldiers who helped defeat the Nazis, who were going through even worse than the Japanese were going through, and for centuries. How hypocritical. Then this nation made Japan pay South Korea some restitution. And they're still going through things like that with the comfort woman and things of that nature. This nation loves to get involved and tell other nations, you owe this group that, or you've done this group wrong. So this country has no problems with reparations. So whenever people want to lose their minds, when we talk about reparations for descendants of American slaves, it's not because they don't believe in reparations. It's because they're anti-Black American, because this country has done reparations and continues to push for other countries to do so as well, as with Japan and South Korea. My plan calls for the federal government. Reparations does not come from any white person. It doesn't come from any taxpayers. The federal government does not run off of taxes. That is a fact. The federal government generates its own revenue. The same way they paid those stimulus checks, the same way they bailed out the airline industry, the banking industry, the auto industry, the cruise industry, financed the vaccines, distributed the vaccines, paid $20 billion a month for the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. The same way they can cancel the debt of these large corporations and bail them out and send aid to all these foreign nations, some that don't even like us, Ukraine being one of them in most modern times. The same way they can generate all that money and not once does anyone say you're taking it from the taxpayers, is the same way they can do reparations. So let's kill this myth that reparations is going to somehow come out of people's pocket. It comes from the federal government. And in a fiat system, debt is simply numbers on a computer, okay? Is in debt, and America is paying yellow dollars or treasury bonds that other countries buy, Americans buy them, banks buy them, credit unions buy them, investment firms buy them, and the government pays them interest on those yellow dollars. Anytime the government wants to get rid of their debt, they can simply give them green dollars, or they can simply lower the interest rate or increase the interest rate. So direct monetary payments from the federal government, because reparations is not a claim against a group of people. It's a claim against the federal government that sat back and allowed people to do things that were wrong to a group of people. Direct monetary payments, bringing back the Freedmen's Bureau, an agency of the government that will handle all of our needs and results to equality and equity. This time, though, the government will fund the Freedmen's Bureau, but it will be an independent agency ran by us, freedmen, people who are actually of that lineage, making us tax exempt, okay? Making us a protected class so that we can have federal funding set aside for us to start our own schools, for us to get business grants, incentivizing a return of Black Americans to our Black American communities and to Black farming so we can live amongst ourselves. I'm not saying that you can't go out with your white friends to the movies or whatever, but I want it to where we can go back to our own communities and we can have our own movie cinema. We can be amongst each other. Separation does not mean division. Division is division. Separation is separation. Separation means having our own. And that's something we should all be pushing for.
Man, very well said, my brother. With that, I hope. And now here's another thing: don't y'all appreciate having a politician that actually educates his constituents? I mean, hey, he gives a damn. You know. So let's see, number 4. What is your take on the Congressional Black Caucus?
They're pathetically inept. They're sellouts. The raccoons, as far as I'm concerned, I'm standing on that. You go to the Asian American Pacific Islander caucus or whatever, they say their goal is to make sure that the quality of life is improved for Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders. Go to the Hispanic caucus, they would say their goal is to make sure the quality of life is improved for Hispanic and Latinos. And before anyone tries to tell me, yes, I already know there are Afro-Latinos, but they're not descendants of American slaves. So they are not us, okay? Nice. They are a different kind of Black. You go to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, they will tell you their mission is to improve the quality of life for Native Americans. You go on the Congressional Caucus page, they say Black and people of color. The only group that is putting the needs of other people before the needs of the people they are supposed to represent. And while all these other groups are actually putting forth policies for the people of their lineage, of their ethnicity, the Congressional Caucus is the only group that when their own people are gunned down in Buffalo, New York, they refuse to acknowledge it as an act of anti-Black racism. They refuse to even say the word Black. Instead, like the cowardly coons they are, they talked about it being an issue of gun control. It ain't had nothing to do with guns. It had everything to do with an anti-Black bigot. Absolutely. They refused to push for anti-Black hate legislation. When Asian Americans were going through their little bit of hate crimes, Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois and Senator Hirono of Hawaii, 2 Asians in Congress, they said we aren't signing a damn thing until something is being done to protect our people. And guess what? Senator Hirono wrote the COVID-19 hate crimes bill to make sure that Asian Americans were protected. The implementation of that bill is race neutral. But if you read the findings of that bill, it mentions the hate crimes against Asians. 3 weeks. You got over 300 years of hate crimes against Black Americans. Not one of those hate crimes were mentioned. Now, I'm not mad though. If I was an Asian American representative, I would be protecting my people too. The question is, why is it that after what happened in Buffalo, after what happened in Charleston, and after what's been happening for centuries in this nation, why has none of the Congressional Caucus written an anti-Black hate bill? trying to talk about that Emmett Till anti-lynching bill is supposed to be an anti-black hate bill. The Emmett Till lynching bill is not specific to Black Americans. We need specificity because we have a history in this nation of being specifically targeted. They are ineffective, they are sellouts, and I have no intentions of joining them. Right now, as we speak, they're hoping Clyburn wins so they can continue to coon and do nothing for us.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Man, great answer, my brother. Man, fantastic answer. So let me see. Next question. So, what is your message to the voters who mainly vote Republican?
I speak to Republicans all the time. The average white South Carolinian is a Republican. Some are very passionately Republican, and some just vote Republican, but they don't really care. The same way Black Americans vote Democrats, we don't get a damn thing for it. You got white people here do the same thing with Republicans. I say to them, actually, the good thing is, BeatZilla, they're saying it to me nowadays, but I showed them data. You see, people get caught up on emotion. I stick with the facts. I showed them data. One study in particular by City Financial. City Financial is one of the largest financial service providers in the world. The bank that is under them, Citibank, is considered a bulge bank, meaning that it is so large, if that bank was to collapse, it will put the global economy in crisis. City Financial did a study saying that anti-Black racism has cost the United States of America $16 trillion. Woo. America right now is the richest it's ever been, $19.2 trillion. However, had this country paid reparations in 2000, we would be twice as rich. So since the year 2000, we've lost $16 trillion. Imagine how much more we've lost if you go back to 1990, if you go to 1980, if you go to 1970. I let them know that Black Americans were not immigrants, okay? Like some of them are. We're not immigrants. We were forced to be here. Any money we get, we're going to put into this country. We are a wealthless group, pretty much. And yet our spending power is somewhere between $2 to $5 trillion, okay? That's with us having little to nothing. If we get reparations that we are owed, this ain't something we not trying to ask for the we're not owed. We are owed. We're demanding it. Imagine how much more money is going to be put into the American economy. That will make this country better for them. I also let them know that whenever this country is under attack, Black Americans, we are 15 to 20% of the population. That's conservative. We know we're more than that. But we make almost 40% of the U.S. military. We are always on the front lines defending this nation. So we have every right to demand from this nation what they owe us. I have let them know that us not getting reparations has made this nation a more divided nation. Russia, North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, they have all mentioned to America, y'all can't talk about justice. Look at how y'all treat the Black people in your country. Every other country realizes that having a divided nation makes you a weaker, a more endangered nation. Only thing that's going to heal this country is reparations. I also tell them that it's white American men that's dying the quickest. And they say the reason for that is because the wealth of America is only being concentrated now in the hands of an upper class. It's not being spread out because of a lack of investment in American people. When you hurt Black America, it's going to catch up with you. Like Whoopi Goldberg in The Color Purple, until you do right by me, ain't no good gonna come to you. It's Black Americans. Until you do right by us, ain't no good gonna come to this country. This country is never going to have peace. But nowadays, BeatZilla, they tell me these things. I get a lot of white Republicans saying, well, the Democrats could put trillions of dollars into illegal immigrants and Ukrainians. They can definitely do reparation for Black Americans. It'll make more sense to invest in Americans. I am getting more white Republicans saying that nowadays. So, does that mean they are our friends? No. Does that mean they agree reparations? No. But what they are saying is that if this country is going to spend trillions of dollars in people, they might as well do it in Black Americans who have always been here, always going to be here, and who are going to put the money back in this nation, not send it out to some other country or not fight for some other nation.
So, that brings to mind to say that at this stage in the game, they could kind of look at this situation as being the lesser of two evils.
That's a funny thing to say. Well, the truth be told, my district is like 70% Democrat. And the chances of Republican winning here, I'm never going to say it's impossible, but it's very, very, very slim. So
Right.
their best bet is they have two choices. I'm going to be very honest. Clyburn supports abortion. Okay, he never met an abortion he didn't want to happen. It could even be full-term abortion. He'll support it. Clyburn supports illegal immigration. He is in support of that New Deal for New Americans bill that will give 20 million illegal immigrants protected class status and give them resources for housing, education, health care, jobs. Okay? Clyburn is for gun confiscation. Okay, I am for gun legislation, but not for gun confiscation. So they have a choice to make. They can think that a Republican is going to win here and it's not going to happen and back up with Clyburn, or they can support someone who they cannot agree with me about reparations. That's their problem. I'm not going to stop it. But at least when it comes to abortion, illegal immigration, and gun legislation, I'm more aligned with their views, typically speaking.
Absolutely. Totally understand. And I think most of us are, because we're typically conservative in the Black community, especially, those who have grown up with grandparents. I'm from the Northwest, but everybody out here is transplants. So they came out here from the South. So from the backwoods of Arkansas to the backwoods of the Northwest.
Right.
This is Little Dixie up here. So, we definitely still get the touch of the South up here. The only Negro
Oregon,
state.
Yeah. Oregon has all those white separatist groups that like to hang out over there. So yes.
You better know it. I see them often. I thought when Enrique Tarrio got arrested, I thought he's like he lives in Florida. I said, wait a minute. No, he lives in Portland. It's like he lives in Florida. Like, I see this dude all the time here.
Well, guess what? To those white separatist groups, vote for me because we want to get the hell away from you two. Hey, I might be hey, Marcel for president. It's a win-win. You vote for us, you vote for me, we get reparations, you get the hell away from us, we get the hell away from you. Win-win.
Win.
I actually told a person that once. So, yeah.
Yay, that's what's happening, brother. I can totally appreciate it. So, with that being said, that was a message to the Republicans. Number 6, what is your message to the typical Democrat voter?
Do for us or lose us, okay? 90 to 95% of Black Americans vote for the Democrats. It has already been analyzed. Without Black American voters, the Democrats would literally not exist as a party. And there are other people who have said this. Tamara Shealy Johnson has said this. A few other people have made this remark. There are some Republicans, like Ann Coulter, but this ain't new for her, who are starting to realize that all the Republican Party has to do is not be dumb as hell and do a black agenda, okay? And if Black people start voting for the Republicans, the Democrats are finished. They will never come back. I am telling the Democratic Party, Black Americans, I am not my mother's generation, okay? We are no longer with the symbolism and we shall overcome one day, my grandparents' generation. No, this younger generation, the millennials, as am I, and the Generation Zs, but even some people of the Generation X, on the younger end of it, they're now saying, hell with you. You're not getting my vote. what you gonna do for me and people who look like me. They're starting to ask that. Trump did that platinum plan thing. It was a mess, yes, but the point of the matter is he saw an increase in support from black men and black women. And that's what people saying Trump was blatantly racist. He still saw a surge in support from black men and black women. Okay? If there is a Republican who comes along and they're smart enough to see that, you know what, the Republican Party was the original party that supported Black Americans, supported reparations. That was the first Republican president was the original reparations president. Then Ronald Reagan, who I absolutely hate, he did the reparations bill for Japanese American. It's always been the Republicans, historically speaking, doing reparations. If there's a Republican who comes along and realizes that, and they get black people's ears, the Democrats will be finished. The Democrats have taken us for granted long enough. They are literally saying, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do things specifically for black people. No, but they're doing things for Ukrainians. They're doing things for illegal immigrants. They're doing things for LGBTQ, trans. They're doing things for illegal Asian Americans. But they're telling us, the people with whom they would not exist, I'm not going to do anything specifically for you. No. So I'm going to tell them, Lou, you better do for us before you lose us. Let me say it again. You better do specifically for us before you lose us. And what we are demanding is reparations and an ongoing strong black agenda. I am just the beginning of many more people to come. Even if, let's say I don't win June 14th, which I am.
You
they better believe they ain't see the last of me yet. But more frightening than that, you ain't gonna see the last of people like me.
That is the scary part. I'm telling you, man. Clyburn doesn't want to even come nowhere near you.
No, that's why he doesn't want to debate.
and that's
they're not doing one either.
No. This is what the very telling part is. They'll spend the money to avoid you.
And he has been.
You a bad
right. Ain't that right? Stop sloganeering.
Right.
Sloganeering kills. Stop sloganeering. Okay, anyway, I'm just playing.
And he ran ads right on out the gate. They said, I'm in trouble. Whoa. Let me get a slogan. Coming from Mr. Stop Sloganizing, went straight ahead and jumped right off the porch into a slogan.
Right. You know, he's more upset about us sloganeering. Right. He's not upset about us only owning, losing 15 of the 16 million acres of property we used to own. He's not upset about us being 15 to 20% of the population, conservatively speaking, over 55% of the homeless. He's not concerned about us having the lowest wages, the lowest wealth. He's not concerned about the fact that this segregationist that he endorses, Joe, he's not concerned about the fact that under this administration, everyone's unemployment has dropped except Black Americans. And Black American men's unemployment has actually surged. That's not upsetting him. He's upset about us sloganeering.
Shameful.
Disgusting.
Absolutely. And I really hope anybody that is on the fence watching this right now, even if you are not in South Carolina, listen to what's being said right now and ingest this and understand. When you're voting, you are voting for your interests. And listen just into one district that Brother Marcel is being able to share this piece. There's many of districts around this country that are in this condition. I would really hope I hope you're taking heed to all the information and the knowledge that this brother has been given this evening and adapt that fire for where you are. So in your region, if you do not have a Marcel, you might have to make one. There's somebody around you. Yeah, there's someone in your town.
I always say this. If there's no one for whom is deserving of our vote and support, then we need to run and become that person who's deserving of our vote and support. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to show my example. I'm trying to live the example.
I totally dig it, brother. Totally dig it. So, the very last question I have for you, question number 7. Do you have any words for the foundational Black Americans, grassroots freedmen, the B1, all of your supporters? Any final words for that group there?
We're in the final stretch. Okay. The election is now just 12 days away. No, oh man, 11 days away now. So
Mm.
right, early voting has begun May 31st to June 10th. And then it opens again June 14th. Y'all, if I've ever needed a donation, it's now. Because look, people have seen my commercials during the NBA finals. Y'all donations allow that. The billboard, y'all see me posting, other people posting, y'all donations allow that. My yard signs, y'all did that. The hundreds of thousands of flyers that are still being distributed as we speak, y'all have done that. Radio advertisements, the emails, the text messages, the other technological resources we're using, y'all have done that. We can't stop now. I need to get my name out there as much as I can. So marcelforcongress.com/donate, whatever you can give, I will appreciate it. Last but not least, y'all, we can win this. We will win this. I need you. I don't care if you fall. I don't care if there's a person you know from South Carolina that lives next door to you, but you never spoke to them before, or a person from South Carolina and they have family there. Tell them about me. Get the word out. We need to win this, bring this on home. Let's show them that the real Black media, the underground Black media, that they can ignore us, but they sure as hell can't stop us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed, man. I so appreciate it, man. You know, we've been trying to link up for a while, and we finally was able to make it happen. I guess it's fitting that it's my birthday weekend, man. So, and again, I'm also glad that it did kind of happen this way, because the questions that I wanted to ask you, I really haven't heard yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I know everybody's going to the typical, okay, but I wanted to make sure that a lot of people could hear where how you can influence even people and spark whatever, wherever. Because I'm just telling you, from when I was first seeing you, like going at Pete Buttigieg and Clyburn, and then what you just did recently as well, that I seen on your page. When you're able to go in, you don't just start yelling, talking, nothing, and saying, hey, and start trying to appeal to some kind of emotional sense of somebody like you hear a lot of these activists do. What you do is bring receipts, facts, figures, numbers.
Data. Exactly.
You come fully loaded. And these people just be sitting there looking like, because you don't give any kind of, there's no cracks to even penetrate with the BS, and it's just funny watching them freeze because they're studying what you're saying to try to figure out if there's some kind of manipulation that they could throw in there, and man, you just leave them butt naked, and it's a beauty to watch.
They're so used to getting these sorry, vapid, Black boule people who just want to be on TV so they can get a book deal and, go to brunch and post on Instagram how popular they are and, feel good about themselves and polish their resume.
Right.
Those careerist Blacks, those people don't have any passion for us. So they let people get away with neglecting our people. Those are the type of people they're used to dealing with, who comes and confronts people in positions of power to represent us. They're not used to people like us from the soil, the grassroots people, but they better get used to it now, because times are changing, and they're going to change big too.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, my brother, I will get ready to let you go. I so appreciate you.
I enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Oh man, we've been in spaces together, and so finally to get you here and that we can actually converse on this platform is, man, it's been a beauty.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you everyone for having me. And thank you for having me because y'all helped me.
Absolutely.
Like I said, y'all have been
Yes,
carrying me on your shoulders. So people thank me for coming. No, I thank y'all for having me. So thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Well,
You take care.
I so appreciate it, brother. And again, you said name those dates to where they can vote for you again, just before you
May
go.
31st to June 10th is early voting. Then the closes, and then it opens up for the final day, June 14th. We can win this, y'all. I don't care if y'all need to just get a South Carolina phone book and start calling. We just got to get the words out. But thank you so much.
All right, man.
Take care.
Appreciate it. All right, man. Take care. I am going to let you go. And man, that was the great Marcel Dixon. Uh, I hope y'all share this broadcast with your friends and family. Anybody who is on the borderline of still being on the Democrat plantation, let them know that there are new ideas. And when people say, "Well, why don't you guys get a candidate?" Well, we've answered that call. So now that you see a solid candidate from the grassroots, well, now it's time to see the status quo give its support for what you were requesting from the grassroots. Present a candidate. We've done that. And now you have a candidate to fully get your support behind. I mean, if he can do it from the soil, how much more good could he do with a donation from a Oprah Winfrey or a Michael Jordan or Russell Simmons or you understand? You have a lot of these celebrities that we say, well, why ain't they doing this? Why ain't they doing that? Don't you think they should have probably put a little donation there into a person who is actually pushing for reparations? Remember what I played on my last broadcast, and I let you see how those people who have been sitting in office absolutely do not like you. You just heard a candidate that absolutely is on fire for y'all. I think we need to learn when we're winning. And I think we need to embrace the opportunity of inevitable change. A lot of people want to fight change. Sometimes I think you just need to let things be. And I think this is one of those times. Take a chance on Brother Marcel. Take a chance on individuals like him that will come in these spaces and show you who they are. They will stand up to vetting after vetting after vetting after vetting after vetting and still hold true. That's what being a solid individual is all about. That solid individual is also giving you absolute pertinent information in giving you a understanding of attitude on how you should approach politics. So I just really hope y'all have ingested that. Once again, I'm going to leave his link in the chat. And again, I got to thank Brother Marcel for sharing his brilliance with us this evening. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This will not be a long broadcast because, of course, it is my birthday. My birthday is technically tomorrow, but this is my birthday broadcast for 2022. So I guess, like I said, this is number 3 on the live birthday tip. So we are here for number 3. Imagine that. So appreciate that, because actually, if you guys remember, my very first birthday live was actually on Instagram. So it's before I started this broadcast, but I started doing the lives and then we moved it right on over here to the platform. And it's been here ever since. So I so appreciate every one of you. What I will plan on doing though here in the next couple of minutes is just play a couple of tunes, and then we will actually get on out of here. Like I said, this is not a long broadcast because I wanted to make sure that this was centered around this interview. So once again, share this broadcast with your family members. Share this on your social media. I mean, man, I so appreciate everybody who has been here this evening, and I hope y'all really enjoyed it. So with that being said, we are going to play a couple of tunes before we get on out of here. So, you know, we got about, I say maybe we'll roll for maybe about another 20, 30 minutes. So with that being said, this is the birthday edition of the weekly wrap up.
Tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick dastardly, a Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. And living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic at your attention like two swords. Or either one.